Hello and welcome to CU Sports Magazine, even though we are in fact a television program. I'm Alex Doyle.
And I'm Erin Sullivan. No matter where you are right now watching this, we are ready to transport you to all the excitement that's been happening in CU sports this past week.
In this week's show, we will kick it off with one of the most crucial games remaining in CU's football schedule.
And CU's basketball teams are about to launch their seasons as well. Let's get going, Alex.
It's as sweet as it sounds. The Colorado football team is now ranked 12th in the nation. This is a jump up from number 15 in the college football playoff rankings. CU is one of 5 Pac-12 teams included in the top 25. Head coach Mike McIntyre said he didn't watch the ranking announcement and most likely won't watch the next one either. He says he won't worry about all that until the end. He did say the higher ranks are giving the Buffs more national attention, which is attracting new recruits. The College Football Playoff Committee will be releasing 3 more rankings on the remaining Tuesdays in November, so CU has a possibility to be ranked even higher. The final rankings will be released 2 days before the Pac-12 championship game.
Earlier this week, Coach Mack spoke to the media about some of the lulls the team has been going through on offense and special teams. Also discussed was how the team needs to respond after last week's UCLA game and the number of penalties the team incurred during the game.
You know, the personal fouls are judgment calls at times. Okay? So if we don't get a personal foul every once in a while, we're probably not being real aggressive. And I don't mean that mean or do anything vicious. You better play aggressive. The unsportsmanlike conducts after the play are what I'm ticked off about. Does that make sense? So, I mean, you teach them how to target, and every once in a while, a quarterback's going to slide when you're going to hit him, and you might hit him high. You're not trying to. They call it. That's the way our game is right now. And that's the way it should be. We should protect them. But after the play, hitting a guy after the play, pushing a guy after play, jawing with a guy after play, that's totally selfish. All that does is hurt the team.
Following the Buffs' win over UCLA, sophomore Isaiah Oliver has been named Pac-12 Special Teams Player of the Week. He scored the game-winning touchdown off of a 68-yard punt return to put the Buffs up 20-10. Early in the third quarter, he also made a 40-yard run to set Colorado up for a field goal. On the defensive side, he made a tackle for a third down stop, 2 pass breakups, and played 32 snaps. This marks the 6th Pac-12 Player of the Week honor for the Buffaloes.
The 7-2 number 12 ranked Colorado Buffaloes will visit the 2-7 Arizona Wildcats on Saturday in Pac-12 South Showdown. While the Buffs lead their division, the Wildcats are dead last and winless in the conference. The first key is defending the Wildcats' Wildcat. Arizona runs the unique and aptly dubbed Wildcat formation. The Buffs secondary, the group that led the number 12 ranked defense in the country, will turn their attention toward Arizona's wide receiving cores, led by Nate Phillips and Trey Griffey.
The second key is get Lindsey going. Phillip Lindsay should have a big performance against Arizona's number 96 ranked run defense this weekend. The Buffs running back has 818 yards and 10 touchdowns so far this season and has been a key piece of the offense. However, he wasn't utilized much last week. The third key is let Lufau lead. Sefo Lufau struggled last week against UCLA, committing 3 turnovers. It's the second straight game he has struggled in, and this week, Lufau will need to take his play to the next level. In his last 4 matchups, he has been held to 1 touchdown while throwing 2 interceptions. Stash that phone, stow that tablet, and close your laptop. Close it. Yeah, you there. I can see you using Google, because it's time for this week's trivia question. As we've mentioned before, the Buffaloes football team is headed to Arizona this weekend to take on the Wildcats. Even though CU joined the Pac-12 in 2011, they have faced the Wildcats plenty of times before that. So this week, we want to know, what is CU's all-time record against Arizona? We'll have that answer for you at the end of the show.
And speaking of high praise, we will announce who we have selected for this week's Athletes of the Week. Don't move, you won't want to miss a second.
Coming up, we've got our news team affiliate, Aaron Koppelman, giving us the inside scoop on concussions. They are more common than you think, so stay tuned to hear all about it.
Words are all around campus, the Norland Quad, the Rec Center, the UMC, over by Farron Field, even in some res halls.
It's not just these words being repeated everywhere. It's really a description of the community and the people that you're going to be encountering in the next 4 years.
The creed is a value for the CU community. As a member of the Boulder community and the University of Colorado Boulder, I agree to
act with honor, integrity, and accountability in my interactions with students, faculty, staff, and neighbors,
to respect the rights of others and accept our differences, contribute to the greater good of this community.
I will strive to uphold these principles in all aspects of my collegiate experience and beyond.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
Yeah,
But I don't know where to start.
that's why we're here. We're free, handsome,
I think we're breathtaking.
and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this. Is that brand? Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together. Go to GetSchooled.com for more info.
We like to honor our Buffs every week by choosing 2 players who we feel should gain the honor of being called our Athletes of the Week. And it's that time of the week again. This week, our 2 athletes are senior Danica Evans from the women's soccer team and senior Jeremy Paul from the men's golf team. We chose Danica Evans for her spectacular performances all year. She has started in every game this season, racking up 10 goals, which is the second most on the team. She is also tied for the most assists with 6. We chose Jeremy Paul because in the last match of the men's fall golf season, he scored a birdie while his opponent made par in order to give the Buffs the overall win against UCLA. Congratulations, Buffs, and keep up your hard work.
Tonight is the night that the men's basketball officially starts its season. I know you're excited, so let me give you all the details about tonight's game. The Buffs will be playing against Sacramento State at the Coors Event Center starting at 7 p.m. Get excited because Tad Boyle says this could be the most talented team he's coached yet.
As Aaron mentioned, basketball season is beginning this weekend, and we are looking forward to seeing what our teams can do. Jake Shapiro is here in the studio to talk about the men's basketball squad and how good last season turned out. Please, enlighten us, Jake.
I'm Jake Shapiro here with this edition of Buff Banner. The Colorado Buffaloes basketball team is coming off of one of their most successful seasons in program history. In 2015-16, they finished with a record of 22-10, good for an NCAA tournament appearance and a 5th place finish in the Pac-12. They tied the school's record for most regular season wins and played in a postseason for the 6th straight year under Tad Boyle. Despite losing star center Josh Scott, expectations are even higher for this year's team. 6'5" guard Derek White, a transfer from the University of Colorado Springs, looks to fill Scott's prior role as the star of the team. White, originally from Parker, became the first UCCS player to be honored by the NABC, being named as a second-team D2 All-American his junior season. He averaged 25.8 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 5.2 assists, leading the Mountain Lions to their first RMAC tournament championship. The Buffs also gained Xavier Johnson, a 3-year starter that missed last season with a torn left Achilles. He enters his senior season, with 990 points and 515 rebounds over his 95 career games. While there are only 2 major additions, the Buffs do return 65% of their minutes from last season, which is more than the average of 55% nationally. In total, the Buffs will bolster a ridiculous 4 fifth-year seniors and a 4th-year junior. They're rounded out by 2 more juniors that will play major minutes as well. It's clear what the 2016-17 Buffs are going to be. An offensive firepower with a coach who will be driven mad about their priorities at times. Boyle, who preaches defense and rebounding, will have to control a team that will only want to ball. Will this happen? Most likely. The foundations for Boyle's success at CU have been defense and rebounding. He's adapted to many different styles of players and his teams while keeping his fundamentals in check. Boyle in his 7th year has the exact group of players he wants in an ideal situation. Wes Gordon, surrounded by versatile wings, has the coach licking his chops. As you should be too. The depth of this team is real. The upper echelon talent, real. The experience, real. The only thing that can get in the way of this team is themselves. But if all comes together, the Buffs are going to go deep into March. Whatever lofty goals you've given the Buffs this year, you're justified. Although Boyle himself tried to cool the hype, he knows as well as anyone who has seen this team that the expectations are warranted. This is Jake Shapiro. Back to you on the desk.
Besides being excited for the official start of the men's basketball season, the new men's basketball recruits have got everyone talking. The 3 recruits that have signed letters of intent to join the Buffaloes for the 2017-18 season are all considered to be 4-star recruits. The signing class, which could be the best one in the era of Tad Boyle, was made official this past Wednesday with Evan Batty, Tyler Bay, and Deshaun Schwartz giving their letters of intent. Rivals.com rated this class at the 16th best in the nation. Scout.com has the Buffaloes at 18th.
The women's basketball team also begins their season this weekend with 2 games. The first is in Northern Colorado tonight against the Northern Colorado Bears. Sunday, the team plays its home opener against the Air Force Academy. These are the first games under new head coach J.R. Payne. Payne has a history of turning programs around quickly. She took over Southern Utah and Santa Clara teams that averaged only 9.5 wins per season. By the time she left both programs, her teams averaged 23 wins per season. I think we can all agree that we hope Payne's success in turning teams around continues with the Buffs. The team has gelled well in practice so far this season. Basketball is back in Boulder, and we are excited.
The CU women's basketball team has added their first 2 athletes to the NCAA early signing period. Head coach J.R. Payne announced the signing of Aubrey Knight and Annika Jank. Knight stands at 6'1" and has been ranked 73rd best in the country by ESPN. Jank is 6'3" and has been ranked the 20th best player for her position. Coach Payne says the team is very fortunate to sign such outstanding women, and they will have an immediate impact on the program once they arrive in Boulder. When it comes to our athletes here at CU, the one aspect that comes before performance is safety. As you may know, one of the primary issues among players across many sports are concussions. Our news team affiliate, Aaron Koppelman, is here on this very important subject.
Concussions hurt just as much as they look. This hit reminds us how dangerous football can be, and it also reminds us that the NCAA needs a reliable protocol. Ryan Moeller, a safety for the Colorado football team, has went through the protocol after a concussion kept him out all last season, but he says he might have been able to get around it.
I think that if I really wanted to play it off, I might have been able to, but that's a pretty serious thing, and when you think about that repeated hit to your head.
According to the Sports Concussions Institute, there is a 75% chance of sustaining one concussion and a nearly 10% chance of suffering multiple ones. Dr. Sherry Ballantyne, who works at the CU Sports Medical Center as a concussion specialist, says it's not that easy for a player to lie about their symptoms.
Yes, I will say yes, because if I say no, it's not 100%. But in general, the reality for most of our patients is that they are not trying to lie, they are scared. If they are truly concussed though, it's for, and this may be biased because remember I do a significant amount of concussion work, I can tell.
Dr. Ballantyne works with the Boulder Valley School District to set up the protocol for high school students, but she fears the NCAA guidelines only talk about how quick a player could return, rather than learning more about why the player is even allowed to return.
What's published is a return to play guideline. There's no necessarily, and we might see it in this new international guideline, a return to learn. So there's 2 different issues here. There's return to play, but then there's also return to learn.
What about the pressure that comes with concussions? When it comes down to bigger football programs like CU, there's pressure coming from all angles, whether it's the coach or the doctor who has to ensure their player's safety, or pressure from the player to help his team out now and possibly make the NFL in the future.
Moeller confirmed there was pressure to get back onto the field as soon as possible.
Anytime you get injured, you feel a little bit of pressure and you want to come back. And I think a lot of the pressure you feel is actually put on by yourself, and then your teammates and your coaches and everyone else to say, oh man, we really want you back.
But players aren't the only ones feeling the pressure.
We as providers are under tremendous amount of pressure. So if you're a physician, you're the captain of the ship. So you are responsible for setting policies that are consistent with current guidelines.
The health of athletes is a huge priority for coaches, players, and the doctors that look after them. Yet until more is done to address the protocol and pressure surrounding this issue, players may still be out on the field when they should be recovering. Aaron Koppelman, News Team Boulder.
Coming up, our cross-country teams are ready for redemption after last year's upset. They head into regionals after sweeping the Pac-12.
And our men's golf team finished up their fall season with a victory against the UCLA Bruins last week. Don't go anywhere. Sports Mag will be right back.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore. And frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy, and giving up impossible.
And then we're gonna turn the lights and everybody look up.
I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought.
What's your reaction gonna be? Yeah, exactly.
And unconventional methods
Okay, what else?
common.
Little tadpoles, the frogs, the spiders, this is their world.
There's nothing.
And then they die. Go ahead, go, go, go.
I'm a teacher. I make more.
Both the men's and women's cross-country teams have continued on their legacy as top-ranked teams in the 2016 NCAA Mountain Region. The women are currently top in the poll, where the men are seeking the lead at a near second. Both fields of the team have great competition coming up. They will be competing in Indiana coming up and will need to prove their worth. But overall, between the men and women combined, these cross-country buffs are coming up on their second straight year of both winning Pac-12 titles.
The volleyball team just added some more firepower to their team with the signing of 3 prep standouts as a part of their 2017 recruiting class. Jaden Newsom from Texas, Danielle Price from Canada, and Anissa Smith have all signed to join the Colorado volleyball team next season. Head coach Jesse Mahoney is excited about the recruits, saying, "We've added 3 student athletes with great ability and athleticism. The 3 recruits will add immediate depth at 3 different positions for the team, and Mahoney expects them to immediately impact the program."
With the season almost over, the volleyball team is headed up north for 2 key matches, Thursday at Oregon and Saturday at Oregon State. Going into the weekend, CU was 13-11 overall and 5-9 in the Pac-12. Oregon is ranked 16th in the nation with a 17-6 record before Thursday's match. The Buffs went into Oregon but could not steal a win, losing 3-1 for the second time this year to Oregon. The Buffs move on to Corvallis to face the Beavers. Oregon State is 10-15 overall and 3-11 in Pac-12 play, which is tied for 10th in the conference. Earlier this year, OSU lost to the Buffs 3-1 in Boulder, and CU leads the all-time series 7-3. The Oregon State game is scheduled for 8 p.m. Mountain Time, streaming on Pac-12 Plus through Twitter. So make sure to tune in.
The Buffs golf team closed out their fall season with a win against the UCLA Bruins Wednesday in the consolation bracket final of the Gifford Collegiate in Los Angeles. The match game down to the final hole, CU leading the Bruins 3-2. Jeremy Paul made a birdie on the hole, while the Bruins' Tadashi Yoshari scored par, giving the Buffs the match win by a score of 4-2. The Buffs will return to the links in the spring after a very promising fall season.
It's time for one of our newest segments with one of our newest reporters. Jess Rainey spoke to one of the tennis team's freshman members, Chloe Hewell. The two talked about injuries, how long the season is, and how the tennis team trains. Jess, over to you.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Jess Rainey. I'm here with CU Sports Mag doing this week's edition of 60 Seconds with the Buff. Next to me is Chloe Hewell. She's on the women's tennis team and she's a freshman from Australia. Have you had any major injuries since you started tennis when you were a little kid?
Not too many major injuries. Have had a few bumps and bruises, but nothing too serious to keep me out of competition for a long time.
Roughly how long is your typical season?
So right now we've just finished preseason, and when we're in season, we will start very early on in the month of January, and then we'll go roughly 3 to 4 months. It might be longer depending if we make championships and get to the NCAA finals.
Nice. How many teams are typically at the championship?
So I think in our conference we've got around 8 to 9 other schools that we might be competing against.
Nice. You're a freshman here. How are you liking Boulder so far?
I really love Boulder. I'm very excited for the snow to arrive, so I think that's the one thing that I'm looking forward to the most. But apart from that, it's lovely and I'm enjoying my time.
Well, guys, that's all we have time for this week with 60 Seconds with the Buff. I'm Jess Rainey. Back to you guys at the desk.
The women's soccer team ended the season ranked 20th in the coaches' poll. They were able to crack into the top 25 by playing 5 straight games against ranked opponents to end the season. They were able to get wins against 10th-ranked Cal and 9th-ranked UCLA. They also tied Utah, who was ranked 23rd. Going into the postseason, the teams finished 3rd in the Pac-12, only behind number 4 USC and Stanford, who ended the season with the number 1 ranking. The Buffs will look to continue their season with a great NCAA tournament.
The women's soccer team will play an old rival to start their championship hopes. Oklahoma State will come to Boulder this Saturday in the first round of the NCAA tournament. The game is at 12 o'clock at Prentup Field at North Campus. Oklahoma State lost in the Big 12 championship to Baylor and will have to travel to Colorado and get past the Buffaloes if they want to move on in the tournament. Make sure everyone gets out to the game and support the team in their quest to extend their season all the way to the national championship.
Well, we have to take one last break, but when we come back to you, we will give you the answer to that tricky trivia question we asked earlier.
We also scoured Twitter to find a tweet worthy of an appearance on your television screens.
Hey, future me, should I be excited for Rapid Fire coming up next?
Yes, it'll change your life. It'll be amazing.
Okay, sweet, totally. All right, we got Rapid Fire coming up next after the break.
The truck slipped. It began to slide. Then no memory. Later, silence, heavy wind, cold rain. We were not seriously injured. We unbuckled our seatbelts, squeezed through this crushed window space, then crawled and walked away from this rollover accident.
Buckle up for life.
You're so lost. No, I am not, man. Dude, I dropped my phone. No, the road! Whoa! Okay.
How would you like to save your life from an ugly, reckless driving death? Don't answer yet. There's more. Act now by slowing down, and we'll guarantee you complete satisfaction.
That's awesome!
In the real world, there is no spokesperson to prevent reckless driving. There's only you. Speak up.
Whoa, Andy, slow down.
This house was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
much, too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. All those boys are much too much. Those boys.
This year, Taylor Korniak has been named the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. In a resurgent season for the team, Korniak led the way with a team high of 11 goals and 4 assists, contributing to the team's total of 26 points for the season. She also was third on the team in total minutes played, trekking closely behind fellow freshmen Jalen Tompkins and Morgan Stanton. At one point, she had a streak of 5 straight games with a goal during Pac-12 play. Congratulations, Taylor.
You've seen him many times, and you'll see him a lot more. It's now time for my personal favorite segment with my personal favorite person, Bobby Galen. Bobby will tell you all the details you need to know about the upcoming sporting events for our Buff athletes.
Hey Buff fans, my name is Bobby Galen, and it's time for the most exciting segment on television in the entire CU campus, in this building, in this studio. It's Rapid Fire. First up, we got number 12 ranked Buffs taking on Arizona in Tucson on Saturday. Head coach Mike McIntyre hopes the Buffs will put together a complete game against the Wildcats. Game starts at 8 p.m. and airs nationally on Fox Sports 1. Next up, we have the CU soccer team opening up the NCAA tournament this Saturday at Print Up Field. The number 20 ranked Buffs will take on old Big 12 rivals Oklahoma State. CU holds a 6-0-2 of all-time record against OSU in Boulder. Next up, the men's basketball team will hold their season opener tonight at 7 against Sacramento State. With the loss of frontman Josh Scott, veterans like George King and Wesley Gordon look to step up and lead the Buffs to the playoffs. Finally, the women's basketball team will start their season at UNC on Friday. Head coach J.R. Payne and company will then return home on Sunday to play at Air Force at 2 p.m. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for Rapid Fire. My name is Bobby Galen, and back to you guys at the desk.
We finally have the answer to that trivia question. Just in case you forgot, earlier in the show, we asked, what is the CU football team's all-time record against Arizona? And the answer is CU 13, Arizona 5. The first time these two teams met was all the way back in 1931. CU won the very first matchup 27-7. The biggest blowout came in 1958 when the Buffs beat Arizona 65-12 in Tucson. CU's coach at the time was famous Dal Ward. Arizona didn't win a matchup until 1986 when they beat the Buffs in Folsom 24-21.
With this generation being the one that grew up with social media and smartphones, Twitter has become an important source of information for many organizations and companies. So scrolling through Twitter has become a bit of a habit for all of us sports maggers. This week's Tweet of the Week comes from Ryan Konigsberg, a CU alum who is now a beat writer for BSN Broncos. Earlier this week, he tweeted this: 11. Colorado's ranking in the preseason Pac-12 media poll. 12. Colorado's ranking in the second college football playoff poll. Unless you're very close with the members of the team or coaching staff, you're probably pleasantly surprised by how the Buffaloes have been playing this season, and to be recognized by someone with the Denver Broncos is also something that is pleasantly surprising.
Well, it's been a packed show this week at Sports Bag. I think I forgot to breathe.
Well, we didn't put it in the prompter, so that's understandable. I did too.
Was that a blonde joke?
No.
Well, in all seriousness, it's been a jam-packed show, but it's over now, so we have to say goodbye.
Yes, we do, Aaron, but don't you worry. We still have one more exciting week of sports coming up in the city of Boulder before Thanksgiving break. So be sure to tune in next week. I'm Alex Doyle, and that's Aaron Sullivan. See you guys later, and go Buffs.